I do know in America, men flirt better. 100%. And they won't be afraid to just approach you at a bar and be like, yo, like give you a really nice line, or at a subway station, they'll just be like, oh my God, you're beautiful.
I feel like Indian boys are kind of awkward.
They're a little awkward.
Kind of nerdy. Did your parents have an arranged marriage or a love?
Very arranged. Dadi had come with my dad to go see my mom. The way my mom describes the story is my dadi took my mom outside into the sun just to see uska rang kaisa hai. And my mom also was like, yo, what the heck just happened? My dad was this tall guy with an afro, and she's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think also at the end of the day, you can fall in love with anybody. If I spent enough time with you, if suppose we lived in this house for 3 months, of course I would love you.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Love Handle, where we get unfiltered about love and relationships. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Sonia to the podcast today. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. Can you introduce yourself, please, briefly?
I am Sonia Rathee. I'm an actress in the Indian film industry. I have been here for about 6 years. I'm from California, San Diego. Lekin family Haryana se, to Hindi bhi aati hai, which is why I work in the industry. But yeah, that's me.
Great. So
Yeah.
I want to start by understanding a little bit about what did dating look like for you in the US?
That's an interesting question. I think for me, it was weird, right? Because you grow up there, so you have the ideals that you have at home, which is mummy being like, jo bhi ladka milega, wo tera husband
Yeah,
banega,
exactly.
like all these things, everything is very sacred. And then you go outside and then you're meeting like you're a part of the American culture as well,
Exactly.
and so you see that life. But I think it definitely added a bit of shame, like being in an Indian household where, I mean, my mom is still very Jattu, my dad is very Jattu, you know, like they grew up with the time in America, but unke sanskar bahut maine rakhte hain. So I think there's always a little bit of shame attached to dating, and especially when you're not dating for serious reasons. In general, yeah, you look for a partner that you want to see a husband in, you want to see a forever in. I think that is something that was inculcated in my household for sure. You know?
Right. There's some amount of shame or guilt
Yeah,
that
for
you
sure.
feel like you have to hide your feelings at times, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
if it's not your husband, then like what are you doing? You're like wasting
Yeah,
your
and I
time.
definitely knew that I couldn't date outside of Indians.
Really?
Yeah, my brother had a girlfriend who was half black, half white, and I remember my mom flipped out. It was his first ever girlfriend in high school, and just seeing her reaction to that, I was like, oh, okay,
Not even gonna touch that.
not gonna be anywhere near that. Indian it is for me, and I feel
Yeah.
like if I was to go outside of my culture, it would be a little harder because I like someone who understands my culture and who can enjoy it with me, you know?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I feel like we're the same person though, because growing up, I was always more attracted to like more Indian people because I almost had this identity crisis growing up about like I'm not sure, I'm not Indian enough to be Indian, not American enough to be American. Like I wasn't able to figure out my footing, that I really wanted to hold on to someone who was like firmly Indian, right? Who would
Yeah.
bring out that Indian side of me and like have that reverence and appreciation of the culture. I'm curious to know, have you found a difference dating in the States versus dating in India?
I got a lot more attention here.
Really?
Yeah. So I wasn't approached a lot, but I do know in America, men flirt better. 100%. Men flirt better.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean?
They're just a lot more suave and like a lot more like confident and charismatic, and they won't be afraid to just approach you at a bar and be like, yo, like, and
What's
just
up?
yeah, what's up, or like give you a really nice line, or at a subway station, they'll just be like, oh my God, you're beautiful. So that always flattered me. I like those. I feel like in India, men don't necessarily know how to do that, and they're a little more underconfident. That being said, men in India love hard. They love harder. But yeah, they don't necessarily know how to flirt as well.
Interesting. I feel like Indian boys are kind of awkward.
They're a little awkward.
Kind of nerdy.
And they never were taught like because in Indian households, again, like what were we taught about romantic relationships? Nothing.
No.
And our dad does not speak to our mom in a very flirty way, okay?
So guys don't even have that much experience talking to
so here it's
the
like
opposite gender.
for agar ladko ne ladki dekhi, like, hi, ladki aa gayi, oh my god, kya kare, kya bole, like, and there it's like, oh, okay, you know, it's very
Normal,
chill, it's very
yeah.
normal. But here there is that like panic, kya kare, kya bole, you know, and it's cute. It's
Yeah,
not
I was gonna
bad.
say,
It's cute.
I feel like if given a choice between like the really suave, like really flirty, charismatic guy and like that nervous guy around you who's like kind of awkward but
Yeah.
really like reveres your beauty or your intelligence, I don't know, I might just go for the awkward guy.
100%.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other difference I've seen between the States and here is definitely like the intentionality with which people approach dating. So I think you mentioned this too, but like people are much more serious earlier on.
For sure. Like you have relationships here that start in high school that end up in marriage.
Yeah.
The percentage is a lot higher here.
Yeah.
People, and because you know what it is, यहाँ पर ना families का ज़्यादा चक्कर है. Like अगर तुम dating शुरू कर दो at a young age, then your parents know the girl, you know, her parents know you, then there's this intention set, then वहाँ पर it's very casual.
I feel like on the negative side though, like as much as I love Indian men, I feel like there are also some drawbacks here.
100%.
One thing that I've observed is that like at times Indian guys are more dependent or more like entrenched with their families, I've noticed. Whereas in the States, like they're kind of out there doing their own thing. Whereas here, there's a lot more dependency and they're not necessarily taught to like do everything for themselves. Because I think a lot of things are taken care of by, in many cases, like the women in their homes, right? Their mothers or their sisters.
They're a little more ignorant in that way.
Yeah, and it's not like necessarily their fault, but they're just expecting that things will sort of happen for them.
For sure. I mean, I completely agree with you. I think it's just the way they're brought up, and then they get a girlfriend or a wife, and then they expect that girlfriend or wife to fulfill those responsibilities. And I also feel like men in India are a little less educated on women. In general, I feel like, I don't know what it is, whether it's sex education, whether it's just lack of interest, I'm not a little sure, but if you ask random men like what a period is, where does it come from, why does it come, they will not know. And they will not know what's the difference between a uterus and an ovary, like because there's also an awkwardness. That's what I've seen, is like trying to learn or like educating them. There's an awkwardness of like, no, that's like,
well, there's also this stigma and there's a taboo surrounding it here, where I think that's true everywhere, but definitely here more so.
Yeah, but in America, I feel like it's a lot more open.
Yeah,
and like culture roles, like gender roles.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Like I remember with my brother and my bhabhi. But when my bhabhi came in, it was like, for her, she grew up in like a more Americanized Indian household where there were gender roles, but very minimal. She was shocked. She was like, and my brother had to his eyes had to be open to the fact that, oh, this is not normal.
Yeah,
that's the core thing.
It is important for the men in the households to like play that role of promoting harmony among like the women in the family, right? His mother or his bua, and trying to tell them that like, listen, no, my wife is my partner. She's not my servant. I'm not going to expect her to play into the same roles that you were unfortunately forced into.
And what's weird is that the mom or the buas don't think that it's wrong.
No, I mean, you've been drinking the Kool-Aid that long, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of your sort of parents and their marriage and the sort of model that they set up for you, what would you want to like take from their relationship? And what are the things that you maybe would want to draw from more of the American style of having a marriage or having a family?
I would like to keep my parents' love. I would like to keep their determination of not letting it go. I would like to take the gender roles that American society has created, especially the newer generation. I would like to take those You know, when you go to family dinners and like सारी औरतें किचन में ही हैं, कहीं नहीं जाएंगी, और मेरे को ताश खेलना पसंद है, but all the men are only allowed to play ताश, और अगर खाना जाएंगे तो सिर्फ मर्द खाना खा सकते हैं पहले, फिर औरतें खाएंगे. I just like never understood the gender roles. That never made me happy. And in today's generation, everybody's working, everybody understands that it's hard, even child rearing, all of these things takes two people.
Yeah. Did your parents have an arranged marriage or a love marriage?
Very arranged.
Really?
Extremely arranged, yeah. My dadi had come with my dad to go see my mom. And literally, like, they just, the way my mom describes the story is they were in this kind of living room space. And my dadi took my mom outside into the sun just to see uska rang kaisa hai. तो ऊपर से नीचे देख के एक बार फिर कहा हाँ सही है ठीक है. And my mom also was like, yo, what the heck just happened? My dad was this tall guy with an afro, and she's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then yeah, they had an arranged marriage.
So what is your take on arranged marriage? Is that something you'd ever consider for yourself?
I think there's value in arranged marriage. I think also at the end of the day, you can fall in love with anybody. If I spent enough time with you, if suppose we lived in this house for 3 months, of course I would love you. Yeah. Maybe not a romantic love, but I would love you. Because I would understand how you think, how your heart works, what your background is. And I feel like the same goes in arranged marriage. So it's really on the person. Some arranged marriages are beautiful. And then some are just like a samjhota.
Definitely. No, it's true. Like when parents arrange marriages, like I don't know how much they're thinking about, like, okay, deep core values align ho rahe hain, right? Like how does this person, but they will control for certain factors. Like
they're like banda peeta nahi hai, cigarette bhi nahi peeta, ye bhi nahi karta, wo bhi nahi karta, sahi hai, job bhi achhi hai,
or like caste same hai, community same hai. Even growing up in a certain caste or community does inform and shape your values.
Like we had said, right? How we as Indian women, like we would appreciate having a partner in the same culture,
right?
Who would understand that culture. Right. That's the point of long-term compatibility. That's like a core that you aren't willing to give up.
And that starts with self-knowledge. Like that starts with introspection.
For
like
sure.
You can't choose a partner who's really aligned with your values until you spend time getting to know yourself. What truly does matter to me.
Yeah. And I also feel like the physical intimacy part comes so early. And of course, women are like we're hardwired. If you're physically intimate with us, like we have some sort of, it's a serotonin, oxytocin, one of those releases in our body. And for some reason, we end up
bonding
attaching. And we have physical intimacy for connection.
Yeah.
And men are not like that. I mean, for men, it's a little easier in that perspective because I think they think differently. But yeah, for women, I think we need to be a little more strategic in that way. Selective.
Discerning.
Yeah.
When you moved to India and you were sort of coming into your own, living an independent life and dating and meeting different people, what specific qualities were you looking for in a prospective partner for yourself?
Someone who's honest, open, direct. I need someone who's going to be direct. I hate games. I hate being like, do you like me? Do you not like me? Like, just tell me. I want somebody who loves me for me. And the me is the awkward, introverted, weird ass, like Sonia inside.
Yeah.
Someone who's very comfortable with themselves. And I think that takes self-work.
For context, our audience is like primarily single people who are like navigating the dating landscape. So anything you'd like them to know or any advice you'd like to share?
I would encourage people to get to know people a lot more than just swiping left because they don't fit the exact box that you're looking for on a 10 on 10. Because let's face it, you're probably not a 10 on 10 either. Like, I'm sorry, but very few people in life are 10. And by the way, there are so many of my friends that come up to me and are like, here, this is the guy that I'm dating, but he doesn't look good in pictures, but he's a really good guy.
Right.
And that's what I want to hear. Like, that's what I want you to be. I want you to like the guy.
Exactly.
You know? That's what's important.
Totally.
I don't care how hot he is. And honestly, if you like him, he's 10 times hotter.
So true, so true. And plus, looks fade, dude. Like,
Yeah, looks fade.
Looks don't last forever.
100%.
Like, you want someone you can like grow old and like haggard with, right? Not
you want someone to have fun with. Honestly, like life is gonna be hard, and life is going to have, and your relationship is gonna be hard. But you want someone that you can laugh it off with, someone you can enjoy with, someone you could be 100% yourself with. Those are the key things that you should be trying to pick.
This has been a lovely conversation.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so did I. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Love Handle. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave in the comments below what we should ask Sonia the next time we grab her on this show. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.